During a family barbecue, she joked loud enough for everyone. "If we ever get married, he'll be lucky if I don't cheat." I stayed quiet, but when my uncle pulled me aside later that night, his advice changed everything. My family has a tradition. Every year on the last weekend of summer, we have a huge barbecue at my uncle's house. It is an all-day affair with 3 generations of my family, tons of food, and a lot of loud, happy noise. It is a day about roots, about connection. It is the last place on earth you would expect your life to fall apart. But that is exactly what happened to me on Saturday. My name is Tom. I am a project manager for a commercial construction company. I build things, big things. Skyscrapers, hospitals, university buildings. My job is to take 1,000,000 chaotic pieces and turn them into a single, solid, functional structure. I bring order to chaos. I thought my relationship with my girlfriend Sarah was the most solid structure in my life. We had been together for 2 years, living in a house I owned for the last one. We were partners. We had a plan. Marriage, kids, the whole deal. It was a blueprint I trusted. Sarah is beautiful, funny, and the life of every party. She has a wild streak that I found exciting. It balanced out my more serious, structured nature, or so I told myself. My family adored her. They loved her energy, her stories. She fit in seamlessly. Saturday was a perfect late summer day. The barbecue was in full swing. My cousins were throwing a football, the kids were running through sprinklers, and the adults were gathered on the deck, laughing and drinking beer. I was at the grill flipping burgers, feeling completely content. Sarah was holding court with a group of my female cousins and my aunt. They were talking about a recent celebrity wedding, and the conversation drifted to our own plans. I could hear them from the grill, and I was only half listening. Then I heard my cousin ask, "So, when are you two going to make it official?" And that is when Sarah dropped the bomb. She laughed, a loud, theatrical laugh that made a few heads turn. "Oh God, I don't know," she said, her voice carrying across the deck. "If we ever get married, he will be lucky if I don't cheat." The laughter on the deck died. The conversation stopped. In the sudden silence, the only sounds were the sizzle of the burgers on the grill and the distant shouts of the kids. I did not turn around. I just stood there, spatula in my hand, staring at the grill marks on a piece of meat. She tried to play it off as a joke. "I am kidding," she said, laughing again, but this time it sounded forced and brittle. Mostly. A few people gave a weak, uncomfortable laugh. The conversation slowly, awkwardly started up again, but the mood was broken. The perfect summer day now had a dark cloud hanging over it. I stayed quiet. I did not look at her. I did not say a word. I just kept grilling, my movements calm and methodical. Inside, a storm was raging. It was not just the disrespect, it was the public nature of it. She had not just insulted me, she had announced to my entire family that our relationship was a joke to her. That my commitment was something she considered optional. I served the food. I sat with my family. I talked and laughed and pretended that I had not just heard the woman I loved detonate the foundation of our life. Sarah kept shooting me little looks, trying to gauge my reaction. I gave her nothing. I was a blank wall. Later that night, as the party was winding down and people were starting to leave, my Uncle Frank pulled me aside. Frank is my dad's older brother. He is a retired cop, a man who has seen the best and worst of people. He does not say much, but when he does, you listen. He led me over to the edge of the yard, away from the tiki torches and the lingering guests. He looked me in the eye, and his face was serious. "I heard what she said," he said, his voice a low rumble. I just nodded. "You are a good kid, Tom," he continued. "You are solid. You build things to last. That woman, she is not built the same way. She is all flash, no foundation." He paused, looking back at the party where Sarah was now laughing with my aunt, as if nothing had happened. "You are angry," he said. It was not a question. You want to go home and have it out with her. You want to yell and scream and maybe even break up with her tonight. He was right. That was exactly what I wanted to do. "Don't," he said, his voice firm. "That is what she expects. That is the game she wants to play. A big, dramatic fight where she can cry and apologize and call it a stupid joke, and you will forgive her because you love her. And then she will know she can get away with it. She will know she can disrespect you. And the only consequence is a little bit of drama." He put a hand on my shoulder. "A woman who jokes about cheating is not joking. She is sending up a trial balloon. She is testing your boundaries. She is telling you exactly who she is. The biggest mistake you can make is not believing her." "So what do I do?" I asked. His advice was simple, but it changed everything. "You do nothing," he said. "You go home. You act like everything is fine. You let her think she got away with it. You let her get comfortable. And while she is comfortable, you get smart. You find out if that trial balloon she sent up is the only one, or if there is a whole fleet of them you don't know about. Don't get emotional. Get information. People like that. They don't fear anger. They fear exposure. You want to end it? Fine. But don't end it on her terms. End it on yours. Make sure when you walk away, she understands exactly what she lost and why." I looked at my uncle and I understood. He was not telling me to be a wimp. He was telling me to be a strategist. He was giving me a new blueprint. The old one, the one with marriage and kids, was gone. The new one was for a demolition. A quiet, careful, and complete demolition. I went back to the party, smiled at my girlfriend, and started planning. Update 1. It has been 1 week since the barbecue. 1 week of playing the part of the forgiving boyfriend, and 1 week of methodical, silent investigation. My Uncle Frank's advice has been my guiding principle. Don't get emotional. Get information. The night of the barbecue, on the drive home, Sarah finally tried to address what had happened. "Are you mad at me?" she asked, her voice small and tentative. I glanced over at her. "About what?" "You know, the joke I made. It was stupid. I was just trying to be funny. My sense of humor is a little dark sometimes." I just shrugged. "It is fine," I said. "I get it." The relief that washed over her face was palpable. She thought she was off the hook. She thought my silence at the party was just me being moody. She had no idea it was me recalculating the entire project. For the next few days, she was the perfect girlfriend. She was affectionate, attentive, and did not make any more jokes. She thought she had pushed a boundary and that I had accepted it. She was comfortable. While she was comfortable, I was working. My first step was to understand the scope of the problem. Was her comment a one-time stupid mistake, or was it a symptom of a deeper issue? I started with her phone. We had an open policy with our devices. We knew each other's passcodes. It was a foundation of trust that she, it turned out, did not deserve. I waited until she was asleep and went through it. I was not looking for a smoking gun. I was looking for patterns. I did not find any explicit texts from other men. She was too smart for that. But I found something more telling. I found a pattern of deletion. Her text threads with certain male friends were suspiciously clean. There were gaps in the conversations, missing days. Her call logs showed calls to these same numbers, but the corresponding texts were gone. A person with nothing to hide does not meticulously scrub their conversations. The most interesting find was a group chat with her 3 best friends. The chat was called the Escape Committee. I scrolled back for months. It was a running commentary on their lives, their relationships, and their plans for the future. And it was a goldmine. They talked about me. A lot. They referred to me as the Warden or Mr. Stable. They talked about my boring life, my predictable schedule. Sarah's posts were the most damning. She complained about feeling trapped. She talked about wanting more excitement. And then I found the conversation from the day before the barbecue. One of her friends had asked if she was really ready to settle down with me. Sarah's reply, "God, no. But the setup is too good to leave right now. He is a great safety net while I figure out what I really want. And what I really want is not a guy who spends his weekends installing a new sprinkler system." Another friend replied, "You've got to be careful. He is not dumb. What if he figures it out?" Sarah's response made my blood run cold. "He will not. He trusts me completely. I could probably cheat on him, and as long as I smiled and told him I loved him, he would believe me. He is just lucky I have not bothered yet." There it was. The joke from the barbecue was not a joke at all. It was a slightly rephrased version of her true feelings. It was a test, just like my uncle said. She was testing the waters, seeing how much disrespect I would tolerate. I took screenshots of the entire conversation. I saved them to a secure cloud account. That was my information. Now I needed a plan for exposure. The opportunity presented itself 2 days later. Sarah came home excited. Her best friend, the one who had asked if she was ready to settle down, was getting engaged. Her fiancé had proposed on a trip to Paris. They were going to have a big fancy engagement party in 3 weeks at a downtown hotel. "It is going to be amazing," Sarah said, her eyes shining. "Everyone is going to be there. We have to get you a new suit." A party. A big fancy party, full of her friends and the people she wanted to impress. The stage was perfect. I spent the next week preparing. I continued to play the part of the perfect boyfriend. I helped her pick out a dress for the party. I booked an appointment to get a new suit. I listened to her talk endlessly about the engagement, about Paris, about the size of her friend's diamond. Meanwhile, I was making my own preparations. I contacted the event planner for the party, a woman my company had worked with on a few corporate events. I told her I wanted to do a special surprise for the newly engaged couple. I wanted to put together a slideshow of pictures of them to be played on the big screens at the party. She thought it was a wonderful idea and gave me the technical specifications for the video file. I spent hours putting the video together. It started innocently enough. Pictures of the happy couple, pictures of them with their friends, including Sarah. I even included a few pictures of me and Sarah, smiling, looking like the perfect couple. But the last 30 seconds of the video were different. The last 30 seconds were the screenshots from her group chat. I set the screenshots to scroll slowly across the screen, her own words appearing in huge, undeniable letters set to a soft, romantic piano score. "He is a great safety net while I figure out what I really want. He trusts me completely. He is just lucky I have not bothered to cheat yet." The video was ready. The stage was set. All I had to do was wait for the performance. Sarah thought this party was about her friend. She had no idea it was about to be her grand finale. Update 2. The night of the engagement party felt like the calm before a hurricane. I was not nervous. I was focused. I had a job to do, a structure to demolish, and I had the right tools for the job. We arrived at the hotel ballroom, and it was exactly as Sarah had described. It was a sea of expensive dresses, tailored suits, and the quiet hum of people who believed their own hype. Sarah was in her element, flitting from group to group, laughing and air-kissing, dragging me along like a well-behaved accessory. I just smiled, nodded, and played my part. I found the event planner and gave her the thumb drive with the video file. "It is all set," I told her. "Just play it right after the father of the bride's toast." She gave me a thumbs up and disappeared into the control booth. An hour into the party, the toasts began. The father of the bride gave a tearful speech. The groom's best man told a few embarrassing stories. Then the groom himself got up and gave a heartfelt tribute to his new fiancée, Sarah's best friend. As he finished, the lights in the ballroom dimmed. The event planner's voice came over the sound system. "And now, a special surprise from a dear friend, a look back at some happy memories." The romantic piano music started. The slideshow began. I was standing next to Sarah, near the back of the room. She squeezed my arm, a genuine smile on her face. "This is so sweet," she whispered. The first few minutes were perfect. Pictures of the happy couple flashed on the 3 large screens around the room. The guests were all smiling, some dabbing their eyes. Then, the music swelled, and the final 30 seconds began. The first screenshot appeared. Sarah's words, "He is a great safety net while I figure out what I really want." I felt her hand on my arm go rigid. Her smile froze. "What is this?" She hissed, her voice a strangled whisper. The next screenshot appeared. "He trusts me completely." A low murmur started to spread through the room as people read the words on the screen. People were turning, looking from the screens to Sarah, their expressions shifting from happy celebration to confused shock. And then the final screenshot, the one from the barbecue, filled the screens. "He is just lucky I have not bothered to cheat yet." The room went completely silent. The only sound was the soft piano music, which now sounded like a funeral dirge. The video ended. The screens went black. The lights came up, and in that brightly lit, silent ballroom, every single eye was on Sarah. Her face was a mask of pure, horrified disbelief. Her friends, the members of her escape committee, were staring at her, their own faces pale with shock and dawning dread. They had been exposed along with her. I turned to look at her. The beautiful, confident woman I had been with for 2 years was gone. In her place was a stranger, a person stripped bare of all her lies, standing in the wreckage of her own creation. I leaned in close, my voice a quiet whisper that only she could hear. The joke is not funny anymore, is it? I did not wait for an answer. I took a step back, turned, and walked out of the ballroom. I did not run. I did not look back. I just walked, my steps steady and even, leaving the chaos behind me. As the ballroom doors swung shut, I heard the first sounds of the aftermath. A woman crying, a man shouting. The storm had finally broken. My Uncle Frank was waiting for me in the hotel lobby. I had called him earlier that day and told him what I was going to do. He just nodded and said, "I will be there." He stood up as I approached. He did not ask how it went, he just looked at me, a small, proud smile on his face. "Let's go get a beer," he said. "You look like a man who just got out of prison." And he was right, I was free. Final update. It has been 6 months since the engagement party. The demolition is complete, and I have spent the time since then clearing the site and starting to build something new. The final chapter of this story is not about drama or revenge. It is about consequences and the quiet, satisfying process of moving on. The fallout from that night was immediate and absolute. The engagement party ended in chaos. Sarah had a complete meltdown. Her friends, the escape committee, were caught in the blast. The bride-to-be, her supposed best friend, was furious that her perfect night had been ruined. Their friendship, I am told, is over. Sarah's social life was obliterated. The story of what happened spread like a virus through her circle. The evidence was undeniable. She was not the victim, she was the architect of her own humiliation. The friends she had tried so hard to impress saw her for what she was, a user, a person who saw relationships as a temporary convenience. They abandoned her. She tried to launch a counter-offensive, of course. She told people I was a psycho, that I had doctored the screenshots, that I was a controlling monster. But it did not work. My reputation was solid. And her own words, displayed for all to see, were too damning. She lost her job. It turned out the fiancé of her friend, the groom from the party, was a partner at the marketing firm where she worked. He did not fire her directly. He did not have to. The work environment became so toxic, so full of whispers and sideways glances, that she was forced to resign. She had to move out of my house, of course. I had already packed her things. She sent her father to come and get them. I was not there. I left the boxes in the garage. Her father, a man I had always respected, did not even look me in the eye when I saw him briefly a few weeks later. The shame was too great. She is now living in a small apartment across town. She is working a low-level job, trying to rebuild her life. She has no friends, no partner, and a reputation that will follow her for a long time. I received one communication from her about 2 months ago. It was a long, rambling email. It was a mix of apologies, accusations, and self-pity. She wrote that the barbecue comment was the biggest mistake of her life. She wrote that she did not really mean it, that she was just trying to sound cool and detached. She wrote that my uncle was a cruel old man for giving me the advice he did. That was the line that made me realize she still did not get it. She was still blaming someone else. She was blaming her joke. She was blaming my uncle. She was blaming everyone but the person who was actually responsible, herself. I deleted the email without replying. My life is good. It is quiet. It is stable. I have been spending a lot of time with my family, with the people who form my real foundation. My Uncle Frank and I go fishing every other weekend. We do not talk about what happened, but we do not need to. He just claps me on the back and says, "You did good, kid." The revenge was not the slideshow. It was not the public humiliation. The real revenge was in the simple act of believing her. She told me exactly who she was with that joke at the barbecue. My uncle's advice was not about revenge, it was about self-respect. He told me to believe her, and I did. I took her at her word, and I acted accordingly. She thought she was playing a game where she could have my stability while keeping her options open. She did not realize that for me, commitment is not a game. It is a structure. It is a promise. And when you prove that your promises are worthless, I do not get angry. I just tear down the building and start over on solid ground. And the new foundation I am building is stronger than ever.